Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. It's Double or Nothing week. We're going to have our predictions up for Double or Nothing coming up, I believe this weekend, probably.
Yeah, probably Friday morning.
Friday morning over at Friendo Club TV, so check that out. If you're in the audio realm, don't worry about it. It'll populate your feed anyways. But yeah, we're going to do that over at the Friendo Club TV channel. And of course, we're going to do our live watch-along of Double or Nothing. Larson, myself, the Enforcer, the Friendos, all there at the twitch.tv/Steven
Don't you forget either, we got official predictions happening during the show. Anybody's ball game to win Big Red this month.
Tight. The scores are tight. You and I are tied. Enforcer's just a couple down.
Yep.
Tight. So that's kind of exciting. That's good stuff. That should be a lot of fun. On today's episode, of course, we're going to talk about AEW's Rampage. We're talking about tag title unification on WWE Smackdown. And we're going to talk about the latest on Sasha Banks and Naomi and their situation with WWE. We're also going to talk about a potential huge Mania main event for WrestleMania 39. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, I want to say thanks to the Enforcer, to Ulysses, to Sandra, Dark Dank Lucha. Who else was there? There was an audio listener that was there that I did not catch his name, and a couple other friendos for hanging out at LA Fights this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. Apparently, some friendos were there also at Frank & Sons. One of them sort of saw me, I guess, and didn't say anything. So I'm always approachable, man. You know, unless you're brandishing like a knife or something, in which case, you know, you better be ready to use that, man.
Well, you gotta you run. You run from a guy with a knife, and you
charge
a guy
you
with
run
a gun?
from a guy with a knife. If it's a gun, you attack.
You
them.
charge the guy with the gun. Yeah,
that's according to Al Pacino. I did. So here's the thing about Frank & Sons. I'm not going to talk about this forever. I did a vlog, so you can watch that later. It's going to go up later on in the week at Friendo Club TV. Frank & Sons. I went there for the nostalgia to see if there's any like toys that I wanted to get. Enforcer was able to track down a bunch of old Mask toys, but A, they were wildly expensive, and B, when I saw them, I was like, I've been there, done that. What I did notice, though, is that they had a ton of bootleg or at least unlicensed apparel, shirts and stuff. And so I got used. Number one, you have two presents here.
Oh,
one is from the Enforcer for both of us, but really it belongs with you. And so I'll show you that first, and then just give me a couple minutes, and then we'll get into this.
Yeah.
So this is really a great find. Enforcer got this for both of us, but like I said this should really go with you, and it's Referee Sid. It's Referee Sid. Look at him. This guy is making decisions, Larson.
Amazing.
And they have like a number of different hand gestures that you can change this. So depending on is it going to be a 5 count right here? Is he saying ring the bell right here? Is he confused with this one right here? Is he the one, the bloodline?
Amazing.
I don't know what's going on.
That is amazing.
So you can post this up by Big Red over there.
There you go. Thank you, Enforcer. That is amazing.
And this is what I got for you because I saw it and immediately I was like, man, this is great, because not only do I know this was like your dude back in the day, and it also kind of encapsulates, if you will, our relationship. Of course, this is a Flu Game t-shirt. Pippen and Jordan.
Oh, that's
the Flu Game, 38 points, Bulls 90.
So cool.
Jazz 80. And, I was like, man, what better way? Of course, the Larson of the group, Pippen, Jordan, Steve of the group right here.
Oh, my God.
So this is yours. So I figured you'd appreciate that. I'll get it to you on Thursday when we ball up.
That's amazing.
So
what shirt did you get yourself?
Oh man, I got a bunch. I got a bootleg a Russ Meyer shirt. It's a faster Pussycat Kill shirt.
Yeah, that's cool.
I got a really cool looking Misfit shirt, like one that I've never seen at like a Hot Topic or something.
Yeah.
I got Lacey the same. I got Summer like a Pulp Fiction shirt. And I know at the GCW, at the LA Fight Show, I got like a GCW Lakers sort of style shirt.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's what I got. So, and then I got Lacey like this really cool looking purse because she likes purses.
Mm-hmm.
So mainly I was getting stuff for the family, but
cool.
Yeah, I got myself a couple things.
Very cool.
But no, that's a cool shirt. I kind of regret not getting myself an extra large, but that's kind of tight.
That is pretty cool. Thank you very much. Thank you, Forrest. Thank you, Steve.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this. Let's dive right into it. So everything seems to indicate that WWE really wants The Rock versus Roman Reigns to main event WrestleMania 39. But that's, of course, assuming that Dwayne The Rock Johnson can clear his busy movie Hollywood schedule to make it happen. If Brian Alvarez from Wrestling Observer is to be believed, it looks like The Rock seemingly has a gap in his schedule early next year, and these transcripts come to you via WrestleZone. This is from radio, right? Wrestling Observer Radio.
I would think so. Yeah, I didn't see it wasn't specified in this WrestleZone article, but that would be my guess. Yes.
So Alvarez says The Rock is going to do 0 movie commitments for the first quarter of 2023, which would allow him to do WrestleMania without having to worry about movie commitments, and also have the time to help launch the first season of the XFL. So actually, the timing for doing a WrestleMania match would be excellent this year because he has two different projects, which would require him to take time off from movies. Of course, The Rock, I think, didn't he purchase the XFL or is leading a group of investors to do it?
Yeah.
And so that's relaunching, I guess, in the first quarter of 2023. So Common Doc here says this was purely speculation on his part, and he mentioned that beforehand. Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know.
That is good to know. Yeah, a lot of times stuff that is said on Wrestling Observer Radio that's speculation is kind of presented as fact.
Goes out there, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after the case. So thank you for clarifying that. So anyways, again, assuming, and again, given Alvarez's track record, it's a pretty massive assumption there's any truth to this, especially if he's speculating. There's any truth to this. Yeah, I can't imagine WB could be any happier. That there's actually an availability in his schedule for The Rock potentially do WrestleMania. That's not to say in a year's time he gets like a massive opportunity. He's like, well, I got to jump at this, you know?
Well, I'll be honest with you. There's a couple things to consider that would lead me to believe that The Rock is totally going to do this. Number one is like the fact that he teased it on his own show on Young Rock. They had that completely obvious tease with, Rock and a baby Roman Reigns saying, acknowledge me, and him wanting to fight Rock, and Young Rock saying that's a WrestleMania match. He's a very calculated guy. Like he's I think that's probably maybe something he's learned from Vince McMahon is don't tease something unless you have the intentions of doing it. That to me, it's funny because it's like, oh, it's a throwaway joke, but I'm like, I don't know if he would have even allowed that joke to go through.
Yeah.
If there at least wasn't some intention. As far as like opportunities arising out of nowhere, these days with the level of movies that he's involved in, it kind of doesn't like, like, for example, previs on pretty much all the Marvel movies, most Star Wars projects.
Yeah.
All that stuff happens like ages in advance.
Oh, totally. You got to sign the deal like months and months and months in advance before anything gets going. Yeah, no,
if not years. Like, I'm sure he knew he was going to be Black Adam. Well, he was teasing that literally years before it happened. Now, I'm sure he didn't sign a deal years in advance, but I know he was politicking to become the Black Adam of the DCU. So
I remember that was announced a long time ago.
It was
him doing that was announced a long time ago before they even started getting cameras rolling.
Yeah, no, it was years in advance before they started getting cameras rolling. But I don't know exactly when the deal happened when he signed on the dotted line and stuff. From what I understand, a lot of that was just him sort of like, yeah, I want to do this and we're looking to do it. But it could have probably fallen apart at any point, especially given the way things go down at DC. But I don't know, man. It really feels like he wants to do this. Like everything points to him wanting to do it. Of course, WWE would want to do it. Like it's sort of a no-brainer. So,
I mean, there's another aspect, the XFL aspect. He seems intent on making it successful.
Yeah.
So, having this gap in his schedule, whether it's predominantly for Mania or not, I would be absolutely shocked if he's not out there promoting the hell out of this XFL relaunch from, I don't know, the start of the NFL playoffs till kickoff of the first game, like intensely. He's going to be all over the place. He's going to be on TV. He's going to be on ESPN. He's going to be on radio. He might even be on a podcast or two. He's be promoting the hell out of this league.
And what better way to well, there are probably better ways to do it. But in addition to that, headlining WrestleMania.
If he comes out for his match at WrestleMania with an XFL shirt on.
Oh, he hate me jersey.
There you go.
That's
even
what
better.
He needs. I don't remember anything from the XFL except for he hate me. It's the only thing I remember, because that was the funniest. They let people put nicknames on their uniforms. And in that first one, that first game with he hate me, they were like, hey, you scored the game winning touchdown. So explain your nickname. He hate me. Who? He hate me.
Yeah. Rod Smart. He went to play for the Carolina Panthers.
I know. Yeah. That motivation of whoever hated him really came through for him. So yeah, no, that's all good stuff. It would not shock me at all. I'd be actually kind of surprised if it didn't happen. Honestly, all the chatter about it, and I know like WWE doesn't care about all that kind of stuff because people are going to chatter, but it's like, what would they do if it wasn't Rock versus Roman in Los Angeles?
Cody. Cody wins the title.
I love Cody. But that's totally a step down. From The Rock.
I understand that point of view, but I'm saying
Stephen Amell. How about that?
Ricky Rabies. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be huge. That'd be massive. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about this, man. So WWE apparently intent on talking about Hollywood snapping Sasha and Naomi out of existence, man. They're straight up being erased at this point, Larson. What's going on with the latest on Sasha and Naomi?
This is pretty crazy. So WWE addressed Sasha and Naomi's walkout officially for the first time since Monday's Raw during Friday's SmackDown, when Michael Cole announced that Sasha and Naomi had been suspended indefinitely. The women's tag titles have been vacated, and then a tournament will happen at some point to crown new champions. And this all happened towards, the latter half of SmackDown. And several people before that announcement had noticed that all of Sasha and Naomi's merch had been removed from the WWE shop, and that the former tag champs had been removed from the then now forever pre-roll that kicks off every WWE broadcast. Sean Ross Sapp tweeted Friday evening, quote, WWE confirmed to me Naomi and Sasha have not been released despite being removed from WWE shop. Meanwhile, on a recent edition of Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer reported that Sasha was upset that her planned Mania feud with Charlotte was shelved once Ronda Rousey agreed to come back to WWE. And these transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. She was mad that Ronda got the WrestleMania spot. It was planned for Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair, which was planned for months. I wrote about it. She got moved down, and they gave her the tag belts as kind of like a concession because she got moved down. Okay, if you're looking at it from only Sasha's side, they lied to me, right? They didn't know Ronda was going to agree to come back so soon after her pregnancy, but Ronda wanted to prove it because her mom did it, and they also really wanted Ronda at WrestleMania because Ronda is the bigger star. But to not understand that they picked Ronda ahead of you for WrestleMania and get mad about it, yes. Did they tell you? Yes. Does that make you a good team player? No. If you don't understand that Ronda is a much bigger star than you, for that show, there's not a doubt Ronda is a much bigger star than Sasha Banks in that spot. So before I get to this Pat McAfee stuff, let's address Meltzer here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Sasha's been a pretty solid team player for, a long time.
Yeah.
And to be told that you're going to have this spot at WrestleMania, Sasha is one of WWE's most relevant mainstream crossover stars. Ronda Rousey, I understand she has been a mainstream crossover star, but at this juncture, if you do like the Q rating stuff, you might see Ronda's more well known to Sasha, maybe, but in terms of relevancy, Sasha's ahead of her. You can make that point. You could potentially make that point, but going back to Meltzer, I feel like it's a jab to say that she's not a team player. At a certain point, if you're being told, hey, this is our creative for you,
mm-hmm.
this is what we're going to do, and repeatedly they tell you this is what we're going to do, and then it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're going to do. Doesn't happen. This is what we're going to do, and it doesn't happen. Guess that's going to frustrate anybody.
Yeah, that's gonna be annoying.
you know, and if you say, and then like, okay, well, I'm not getting the title shot at Mania. All right, give me another run with the tag titles. Okay, well, let's make them something.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do that either. You invest time and energy into this team, and your goal is to build up the tag division, and then they just kind of say, well, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, that's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. Incredibly. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off earlier. What were you going to say?
No. It's funny because I'm looking at while you're on your rant, which I agree with. I was looking at the Google.
Oh, Google Trends. That's probably a more a better metric in terms of relevancy than Q ratings, which I pulled out of my rear end.
No, I think Q ratings are legit. I think Google Trends and Q ratings are more legit way of feeling it out than like two dudes in their 40s sort of speculating. But I think you're right about, and I'm looking at Google Trends here, and I mean, since at least July of 2020, like Sasha has been trending quite a bit higher than Ronda Rousey, according to Google Trends. Mm-hmm. So I know I agree with you. I think that Sasha Banks, it's sort of the thing where it's like Sasha Banks, if you take like the past 5 years, which I did. Like obviously up until like, I don't know what, 2018. So from 2017 to 2018 or so, like Ronda Rousey was quite a bit trending more than Sasha Banks. You know, she was doing a lot of the first batch of WWE stuff there. Yeah. And they were making a big deal about it. Yeah, I think historically speaking, obviously Ronda's the bigger star, and I can understand why WWE would think, hey, to the casual viewer, and I think they're probably right about this, Ronda Rousey is a bigger name. That being said, I think Sasha's got that factor right now, you know, being on the Kevin Hart stuff, sort of being, I don't know, just in that sort of era or that sort of percolating pop culture thing where, you know, one move and she'll blow up even bigger than she is now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You can just sort of feel it out, you know, and I think even the more recent Google Trends, even taken before this stuff is going down, you know, there's some pretty big spikes for Sasha Banks compared to Ronda Rousey. And at this point, like they're pretty much about even if you go before the walkout stuff. Mm-hmm. So no, I think look, I'm not running the company, but if you want to kind of be forward looking, don't you put Sasha in that spot? You know?
I know.
Like if you're like, hey, we really want to take advantage of this person that we know is going to break through big sooner than later, as opposed to somebody who, I don't know, like after, if Ronda doesn't have WWE, I don't really know what she has. You know what I mean? Sasha's going to be going up. Ronda, not so much. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. I'm a 43-year-old. You know, I don't know. So if it was my company, but it's not, and I get why they would want to put the big marquee name, I'm sure there's probably all sorts of metrics that prove that probably is a smarter move than Sasha Banks. It's not the one I'd make. It's not the one you'd make, but it's not our company. We're podcasters, right? So I'm sure there are probably analytics that prove that out. As far as I mean, I don't know where this is going to go, man. I mean, it's the whole, you know, taking him out of the then now forever stuff. I took more issue with how they presented it on TV this week on SmackDown. Yeah. You know, with Michael Cole saying that stuff. I just feel like if I'm your casual viewer, your 2 million, you know, one of the 2 million that watches SmackDown, or I'd even suggest that it's probably, I don't know, maybe up to 3 million that keep tabs on WWE.
Yeah, entirely possible. You gotta keep into account, like what they call it, the plus fours or plus people who DVR the show.
People who DVR it. There's, I mean, probably more people just watch stuff on YouTube these days or on Twitter clips, you know? Yeah. Because those numbers are oftentimes astronomical compared to what they do on TV. So people just ingest stuff a different way. So I'm assuming that WWE has plenty more than the 1.7 or 2 million that watch SmackDown or Raw. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If I'm in the crew that's watching on TV, and I'm not listening to Going in Raw or Wrestle Talk or Cultaholic or whatever, or Wrestling News Now, and I don't know what happened, this just seems weird and petty for Michael Cole to say they've let down millions of people.
I know.
What?
I know.
What are you talking about? We didn't even know what happened. Like, okay, you advertise a main event. And we're going to talk about that a little bit Well, no, I guess we can talk about it now since we're on the subject.
Here's the thing, too, is going back to the statement they released Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they hadn't put a spotlight on this story, it just would have been something that's kind of percolating, as a lot of stories do, backstage news.
Yeah.
Of people being dissatisfied with various things. WWE. It would have been another story like that. I mean, it'd been high profile because Sasha Banks and Naomi are involved. And they're your tag champion.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, though, I don't think it would have as massive a spotlight on it from a larger mainstream sense.
Yeah, right.
Had they not issued the statement. Because 99.9% of the time, WWE doesn't say shit about things like this.
Let me ask you this, because this is the only thing I can think about. Is because the last time anybody did this, I mean, Mustafa Ali walked out, but it's not like he was in a role anyways. Neville, same thing, but Neville was sort of I kind of wonder if this is Vince trying to make an example of because now there is so much more leverage. Now there is so much more that the wrestlers can do.
Yeah.
That doesn't involve WWE. I wonder if it's like, hey, we're going to completely erase you if you try this, and we're going to not, mess around with this. And I wonder if that's what this is. I do kind of wonder if once WWE sells, once Vince gets his 10 bills for WWE or whatever he's going after, and Vince is gone and it's more of a corporate run thing, I don't think they would do this shit. Like, it's just kind of ugly. It's like, man,
I know.
You are presenting a universe for us to buy into, right? No different than their example. They like to be Marvel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're presenting this universe. Like, this universe, it's real in the universe. So people walking out and not abiding by the script, that shouldn't be part of the universe. No. Like you're breaking kayfabe, brother. You're breaking
your own walls.
But it's just
you're breaking that facade that you've created for this universe.
It's petty and it's weird. It's weird more than anything. It's just weird.
It is weird. Here, let's talk about this real quick. So Pat McAfee had himself a bit of a memeable moment while reacting to the announcement that Sasha and Naomi had been suspended. And on the most recent Pat McAfee show, he spoke about hearing that news for the first time while Cole was sitting there addressing the W Universe. This is what he had to say, and these transcripts come from Fightful. Quote, the Sasha and Naomi thing, that was my first time hearing what Cole was saying live. I have no idea what to think here. I have no clue. This is very fascinating. She's a superstar. They were our champions. I honestly have no idea what to believe in this whole thing. They keep me out of the loop with everything. I have no fucking idea. While Cole was doing his thing, I was very fascinated. I wish I had more answers for people. A couple people asked me during my chat with Pat on Saturday, what's going on? Fuck. I feel like you know more than I do. Literally, as that was happening, I'm like, God damn. Suspended indefinitely. We need, someone mentions, kind of interjects here and says they need a resolution. He says, we need that. We need a resolution. So.
Yeah. I don't believe Pat. I mean, dude, you can't be Pat McAfee and not know, I mean, honestly, like probably what he knows is probably exactly what happened. They weren't happy. They decided they don't want to participate. They put their titles in John Laurinaitis and then they left. I mean, I don't know that there would be more to it necessarily than that,
Yeah. That's what he's kind of saying here is because I'm sure when he's not at SmackDown, he's busy doing 10 million other things.
Yeah, you're probably right, but he's got to be clued into stuff, though. You don't think?
You'd imagine he'd hear stuff.
Yeah,
but,
right. Yeah.
Is he refreshing? Fightful's Twitter. On a constant.
No, but maybe WWE's talent Slack. Or whatever they use. Isn't Slack the thing that people use? I think that's like
their internal app, you mean?
I think, yeah. Well, I've heard that term thrown around, like my sister's thrown around. Yeah, it's on Slack.
Gotcha. No, I'm not.
Can we start a Slack, Larson, just for you and me?
I don't know what that is. You're like, I don't know what that is. Pants? You talking about pants?
Isn't that what people use? Hold on a second.
I don't know. Slack. I have no idea.
Slack app.
No idea. But it was interesting seeing the clip of just him reacting.
Yeah, right.
On Twitter and people, and sorry, I don't remember the names of people who were mentioning this, like Pat's own kind of instances where he would headbutt with management.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like apparently he just got tired of dealing with management with the Colts, so he left the team.
Mm-hmm.
Peak of his career, his prime.
Yeah.
And then I guess kind of the same thing happened at Barstool when he was working there before he launched his own show. And so if this is a thing where he has shown that, he's not one to deal with a lot of BS from management, how this is going to inform his opinion on things. And, if he comes to find out that, that WWE was doling out the BS to Sasha and Naomi, how is he going to react to that? He doesn't need this job. You tell he loves doing it. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, I know. But it's kind of he's not gonna protest and walk out.
I'd be surprised.
And I'll be honest with you. I think people over blew his reactions out of proportion. Anyways, I think when Cole was saying stuff, Pat McAfee was just acting like he was hearing this he was hearing it. We were all hearing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Whether or not he knew that was going to be said or that they had actually been suspended indefinitely, maybe that was legitimate. But I just feel like he was doing his best to react to news that he probably wasn't terribly surprised by.
Yeah.
And some of his reactions were a little more emotive than other ones, but I didn't sense it. He was trying to silently protest what was going on.
No, I didn't gather that either. I just the kind of most telling thing is after Cole wrapped up and there's they're moving on to the next segment.
Oh, he didn't say anything.
No, he did. He just goes, well, all right.
He said, all right. Yeah. He said, all right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He didn't say, we're going to have new women's tag. That's actually a really good point because it is very counter to, for example, Corey Graves, who probably would have been like, oh, thank goodness we're going to have new tag champions, ones that are professional and won't summarily walk out. That is actually a solid point. He was, with the exception of that, all right. He didn't say another word. No. And it was kind of an awkward silence until Cole said, oh, there's RK Bro. And then Pat blew up. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. Because usually in a situation like that where there's something to promote, which is a tournament to crown new champions.
Yeah.
That's something where, who's in the analyst role, which is Pat's role on the team.
Yeah.
Is be like, oh, wow, okay, there's an opportunity now for new teams to make a claim to be champion, blah, 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 something like that. All right.
I think you're right in that I really would never see Vince telling Pat to say something and Pat saying it if he didn't want to say it.
Exactly. I think that was the point I was getting at.
That's
Not
a good
so
one,
much that he was going to walk out because something happened backstage.
Yeah.
But I don't think if Vince fed Pat the same stuff he fed Corey, I don't think Pat's saying that shit.
I think you're right. I absolutely think you're right. Yeah, you're not going to tell somebody who's already making $50 million somewhere else to say your petty bullshit and expect him to say it. Yeah. No, Pat could get up, go into John Laurinaitis' office and give him his blazer and walk out and be totally fine with it.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. I know there's talk that that they could freeze their contracts or whatever, even if they have 2 months. Which I've never understood how much they could freeze, what additional time. I've always been freeze, or in perpetuity. What is the amount of time that they?
I would think they would be able to. So this is my speculation.
Let's just say Sasha Banks has 2 months left on her contract.
I would think then they would be able to extend that another 2 months since she wasn't fulfilling her dates for those 2 months. So if her contract was to expire in mid-July, they could add an extra 2 months onto it. That's the impression I get.
Okay, that's fine. That's cool.
That if they add time because of injury, like they were doing a few years back, it was the length you were out, they would tack on to the end of the deal.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I forgot. My sense of time right now is so warped because of my weekend. Today is Monday. We got a Raw preview as well. You think Corey's going to be the guy to say, we're going to have new tag champions? This could be awesome. It's going to be great to have professional tag champions.
Yes. I would be surprised if something wasn't said.
Talk about surprises. Tag title unification. You and I both thought this was a 2% botch away from happening. I was a little bit more bullish on. I thought I'd go up as high as 5%, perhaps. But they actually did it. And you said this in the pre-show. We're so conditioned by WWE to not feature big story moments on their weekly TV, which is why we started reviewing SmackDowns on Mondays and Raws on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Because they typically reserve their big moments for pay-per-views, and those do come. But tag title unification on a SmackDown, I didn't have that on my proverbial bingo card. I figured, hey, Roman's not going to be at Hell in a Cell. Maybe because Hell in a Cell, you can there is the X factor of the cell itself. Mm-hmm. The Usos might win there because the cell could could sort of be the proxy for Roman Reigns in a way, because Roman obviously helped them win this one. I thought that them winning unification, winning both the tag titles in the main event of SmackDown, and then the chaos that happened afterwards, I mentioned this pre-show, made this like the best episode of SmackDown in the modern era. I thought it was phenomenal the way the crowd reacted. They had shots of children legitimately crying, which was amazing. And that kind of chaos and violence that we saw when Roman took it to RK Bro and the Usos joined in and they wrecked Randy Orton and the crowd was booing and they stand in there and they have all those titles and Roman has that euphoric smile on his face. Roman had a killer episode from that hug at the beginning, looking into the camera for a moment, all the way to the end when the bloodline stands tall. I thought this was a masterclass of wrestling on television, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, to finish SmackDown. And I thought it was a decent episode altogether. I thought they were setting some stuff up. I'll be honest with you, man. I know like some people are always, I don't know, either we're WWE sweaties or we hate everything they do. Like we get both sides from in our YouTube comments, which is weird. But I thought this was really good. I think Raw's been decent. I think creatively speaking, WWE has some good stuff going for them, and I thought SmackDown was really pretty decent this week.
The Bloodline stuff with RK Bro was all pretty good. We had heard that, I think it was from Meltzer in the newsletter, that Roman next has lined up for his next two opponents at Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, respectively, Riddle and Orton.
Yeah.
And we kind of speculated then, well, the storyline with unification is to motivate those two matches over the summer. So Roman has opponents over the summer. And I mean, it's plainly obvious here, seemingly, unless someone changes their mind, that's the direction they're headed in.
Yeah.
Orton at this point in his career is incredibly over as he is.
Big time, yeah.
Against Roman, that's a huge match for SummerSlam.
It is, yeah.
And for Riddle to get a title shot at Money in the Bank at a huge stadium show, that's a huge moment for him. And both Riddle and Orton are going to come up short, and whether that's kind of what precipitates their split, or if that's kind of like a unifying thing, so that after their two title shots, they go back after the Usos and maybe win the unified tag titles for themselves. But if nothing else, it gives RK Bro's story some more legs, regardless which way they go.
Oh, they're good. They're good through at very least the summer. Yeah,
they're good through potentially Clash at the Castle because they could challenge the Usos for those tag titles there and potentially win them.
Yeah. Boy, wouldn't that'd be kind of nuts? I don't know if I see it happening, but again, with the Bloodline, it's like I need to stop rooting against them at all because they just win. It's what they do. But no, I don't know. Like the idea of Drew and RK Bro cleaning up at Clash of the Castle. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on it, but man.
No, I'm not going to bet any money on it because if Roman's facing The Rock at WrestleMania, he's probably going to have that title with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. I don't know. Like I know you and I are both big on Cody winning Money in the Bank. Probably going to happen, but if Riddle loses at Money in the Bank, if that match happens, is it possible that Orton wins Money in the Bank and then declares for SummerSlam? He is, like you said, he is supremely over.
Yeah, I guess it's possible, but I don't think they need the briefcase to motivate a title match with Roman.
They don't need it, but you know how they do. They sort of go all in on everything these days. And I know in the commercial they just said Money in the Bank gives you an opportunity at WrestleMania, but I forgot that, or I dismissed that immediately.
Yeah,
they like to go all in on everything. Now the Bloodline has all the titles. Nobody cares about anything that isn't involving the bloodline. It doesn't matter, right? They sort of give secondary shrift to. Even Sami Zayn in the mid-card wears a bloodline shirt. The bloodline's everything. So if that's the case, it stands to reason that they would use Money in the Bank as well to motivate more bloodline stuff.
It's possible.
So that's my logic on Orton possibly winning that. On the other hand, they also like having Money in the Bank. People just roll around with Money in the Bank and act like it's
I know, and especially with the criticism they've been getting of late with how they've utilized the Money in the Bank briefcase, having someone who already has motivation to go after Roman with the briefcase to get a match with Roman. Is it a means to tell that story? Yeah. Is it the most exciting? Probably not.
Yeah.
I think you put that briefcase on Cody, and I mean, ideally, what would happen is he gets the title shot against Roman, not cashing in at the Madison Square Garden show, wins by countout like his dad did, and then have that briefcase in his back pocket saying, well, I'm going to cash in sometime.
Man, I like that story, but Cody winning against Roman in any way, shape, or form, you don't bet against the bloodline losing at this point. I mean, you can bet in singles matches against Riddle and stuff. That's fine. But I don't know. I kind of feel like Orton winning Money in the Bank also gets them out of the predicament of a Big E situation where Big E has the briefcase. What do you do with it? You know, what are you going to cash in on Roman? You're going to declare on Roman and then just like lose? You know how that's going to play out. I don't know. I kind of feel like at least with Roman,
that exactly be what. Yeah, that'd be Orton would be doing. Would just be, I'm going to cash in on Roman, and then you lose.
Yeah, I know, but it's involved in the story. You don't have to worry about a guy who's just carrying Money in the Bank aimlessly. I mean, yeah, you could do it with Cody, but why do it with Cody when you have it with Orton? Like, what's Orton's case against Roman? What would he have to do to get a title match?
He just destroyed his tag team partner. He's got personal beef with him. He wants the exact revenge upon Roman in a title bout.
Why is he worthy of a title match?
Because he's Randy fucking Orton.
I don't know. Money in the Bank gets him there.
It does. I don't think it's necessary to get him there, though.
Well, you and I don't think it's necessary because he's Randy Orton. But Roman Reigns is going to be like, why is this guy? We just destroyed him. We beat him. We beat him for tag title unification. Why does he get a shot? And yeah, Pierce could absolutely say he's Randy Orton, but come on, like that's not storyline wise.
Well, I mean,
they could be that lazy, but like with Bloodline, they seem to like to inject some story into it.
They do, and here's like they have to a degree with Orton specifically, where at every turn he's belittling Roman. Mm-hmm. How many times has he show up? Like when they show up on SmackDown, he tells Roman, "Come out to my ring," and that's like an easy, surefire way to piss Roman off. Mm-hmm. If you throw any measure of disrespect his way.
Yeah,
we've seen that time and time again.
He can be triggered pretty easily. Yeah.
Yes, and we've seen Randy already do that. Mm-hmm. And I think if he doubles down on that, he can get under Roman's skin and get a title bout against him super easy.
Yeah. Yep. That could be.
Plus he's Randy Orton.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think they like to put everything into everything. Into every event has to be infused with bloodline. I think that's where they're going these days, man.
We'll see.
We will see. Otherwise, I thought SmackDown was pretty decent. I'm looking at this and I don't see anything. It's funny because they're sort of doing something with their women's mid card now that the women's mid card walked out, the tag champions walked out because of the Shotzi, Aaliyah, Raquel stuff. I thought was pretty decent. I like that it was motivated by the open challenge from last week, so you didn't really need Ronda there to do anything.
Nope.
Who do you think? Let me ask you this. Who is the third man that's going to join? Who's going to be Big E's replacement against the Brawlin' Brutes, which is a terrible name. They should have just been called Fight Night.
They should have stuck with Fight Night.
Fight Night's a really cool name.
I thought about that at the time, and I was kind of drawing a blank in terms of who it could be.
Should be Cesaro. Bring that dude back. Oh, Tyler Breeze would be great. White Brownie says Tyler Breeze.
Yeah.
He's coming back to Up, Up, Down, Down.
He is. I saw that too. Yeah.
That'd be something else.
How
about Killian Dane?
Oh, you mean Damo?
Yeah. See how that worked out for him in AEW. Max Dupree? Yeah, maybe. Oh, let's talk about Max Dupree.
Oh, gosh. Oh, goodness.
So, LA Knight.
You mean Max Dupree?
Once known as
Eli Drake.
Well, I think that's his actual. Is that his actual name?
No, it was Sean something.
Oh, you're right. It's Sean something or other.
And then he was LA Knight.
Yeah, now he's Max Dupree. But seemingly he doesn't even have that vocal cadence anymore. He's not coming in and doing this, dummy.
I know.
LA Knight's dead. And a new and the same actor is now portraying a completely new character. Named Max Dupree, and he's a model agency guy. Now, we had heard that LA Knight was doing this in dark matches and had enrolled Mace and Mansoor in his male modeling agency. But we had not heard that he was a completely different character named Max Dupree.
Yeah.
So the name is awesome. He's great. He could get anything to work. Are you looking forward to this Max Dupree character?
No, I'm not a fan of vocational gimmicks. Sorry. Not.
He's a manager.
Yeah, I know, but like the whole idea is that he this is his job. You know, this is his vocation.
Yeah.
He's trying to find models and main eventers.
Yeah, right. Same thing, though.
That's his mission statement. Yes, I understand that. But you get down to it. It's a vocational gimmick. I'm just not into vocational gimmicks.
But if it's a manager, because you're not going to be wrestling. Like
still a vocational gimmick.
It's sort of different, isn't it? Like, name the last manager who had a vocational gimmick. Like, you haven't had like a garbage man be a manager before.
No, but I can't really think offhand of a manager who had a very specific job, that being managing a model agency.
Yeah.
While also managing wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So his job is two-pronged. There's wrestling management,
right,
which is, has historical precedence and whatnot, and I understand that part. But there's also managing this modeling agency.
Yeah, right.
That's very, at this point, until he starts employing successful wrestlers as wrestling manager, not a whole lot of money to be made there. I'm sure he's getting most of his money through managing models.
Yeah, Mason Mansoor, there's going to be eating pins left and right.
Yeah, so in my mind,
jobbing agency.
I mean, pretty much what it seems like Max Dupree is going to be the main roster's version of Robert Stonebrain.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
That's what it seems like. Where we know he can be entertaining on the mic. Unfortunately, this faction is probably going to be booked as a faction of losing wrestlers for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I I agree with that. Oh, man. You know what? I like this for him, though. Because I just don't know where LA Knight would have. I don't know. But he was so over. I think LA Knight would have been.
He was over being LA
on
Knight.
Main roster. He would have been really good.
It wasn't like the NXT really tailored anything to get him over. He just got over.
Yeah,
he just got over being himself.
He always gets supremely over with the fan. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe they're like, hey, Mace can't get over on his own. Mansoor ain't going to get over on his own, even though he displayed he could with that Ali stuff. Maybe give him LA Knight, who can not only, maybe this is just another challenge. It's like, hey, look, we know you can get yourself over, but we need you to get other people over using your awesome character abilities as Max Dupree. You know, it'd be awesome. It would have been better if LA Knight came out and dropped a retirement speech on NXT and says, I'm leaving now, dummies. I'm going to go start a male modeling agency. Yeah. And they get to track his journey.
Exactly. And then the reinvention makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But whatever. It's a new character. We've seen it before. Isaac Yankem. Classic example. Other Max Moon.
I mean, it just makes you think of early 90s wrestling, and that's not really a reference that's really that you really want to make.
Yeah, man. Max Moon, Bastion Booger, others, Repo Man. Classics, Larson. Anyways, SmackDown kicked off with a Bloodline promo to promote tonight's main event. Roman, of course, asked the crowd to acknowledge him. They do. He says tonight's special because not only do the fans acknowledge me, they acknowledge my cousins. No, this is Heyman talking, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, no, early on is Roman, then he hands the mic off to him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he says, which means tonight the fans acknowledge the Bloodline. He says, wise man, tell them why. So Heyman gets on the mic. He welcomes us to the single biggest night in the history of tag team wrestling. He says, what we have on the island of relevancy is the moment of truth. Roman is the GOAT. Take your Brunos, your Hogans, your Austins, your Rocks, your Brocks, your Cenas. You can stack them all up, and that's what would happen if you put them in the ring against Reigns. They would be stacked, smashed, and pinned by the GOAT, Roman Reigns. And while we sit there with our insecure cheers, each and every single night of his life, Roman defends the position of being great, because that's what it takes to be the tribal chief. So what does it take for the Usos to be the greatest tag team of all time? He says that with the nervousness in my voice, because I stand in the ring with the descendants of Afa and Sika. He says, so to claim to be the greatest tag team of all time would be pretty disrespectful if you don't do something that Afa and Sika never accomplished. Unify the tag team titles. Be the only tag team ever to be Raw and SmackDown champions at the same time. And to do so, they have to defeat RK Bro. He says, this is the best SmackDown. This is the best on SmackDown versus the best on Raw. It's not enough to be Roman's cousins. So tonight, the Usos will come home, the undisputed tag champions, or they won't come to the island of relevancy at all. Heyman says the Usos will win tonight. They'll become the greatest tag team of all time. They'll become the undisputed tag champs. And that's not a prediction. That's the spoiler. And then Roman takes Mike back. He tells the Usos, he says, you know what I want and what I expect you to deliver. He says, the only reason I have these expectations is because I love you. And then they embrace, and it's great TV because the camera gets both angles of the hug. And he brings them in and he hugs. And they're looking like they're emotional.
Yeah.
He's looking like I have manipulated the shit out of these guys. And he looks into the camera and gives this devious smile and then sort of looks back at the crowd.
Yeah.
It was a really wonderful moment there.
It was really well done. Then we go backstage and Sami Zayn is watching on monitor. And then he just walks away down to the ring for his match against Shinsuke Nakamura. That happens next. Nakamura gets the win here. Sami tries to get the count out win yet again by hitting a Michinoku driver on the floor.
Yeah, that was rough.
So Nakamura just barely beats the 10 count, gets on the apron. Sami kicks him back out to the floor. And then when Sami gets out there, Nakamura throws him into the ring post, tosses him into the timekeeper area. Nakamura gets back in the ring, taking the count out win maybe. Sami beats the 10 count, but as soon as he gets in, Nakamura hits a Kinshasa to get the win.
A little spot from the right before SmackDown rolled on when Sami shoved Nakamura off the top post was rough too. He just tumbled all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
He took a couple lumps here. But yeah, that was a cool win here for Shinsuke. After that, we had an Usos video package, and then we had Happy Talk. Corbin standing by Madcap's Andre trophy. He says, welcomes the crowd to Happy Talk. He says, this is the happy, and he's clearly not that happy.
But he seems pretty
downtrodden.
unhappy.
Yeah. He said he claims it's the happiest he's ever been. He says, no, none of us can understand how good it is, how good it feels to be me. He says, I'm tall, I'm handsome, I'm wearing a $12,000 hat and a $70,000 watch. He says, and most of all, I'm happy because I rid the WWE universe of Madcap Moss. He said, and I got myself a souvenir, and it'll look great to the one I already have. And then he throws to a recap of the attack on Moss. He says, I got fined a lot of money for that. He says, well, a lot of money for most people, but you can't put a price on art. And that was a work of art. And like any piece of art, you appreciate it more the second time around. Throws to another recap. If it wasn't for these recaps, this would be a pretty efficient promo here.
Yeah. I mean, he threw to the same recap twice, basically. So.
Yeah. And he says, we should all learn from that. He says, he says, you all should learn from this. Show your boss total respect. Never try to improve your situation in life. Moss had it good, but now if he wants to eat steak, his nurse has to chew it for him first. He says Moss wanted to be a big star and rise to the top. He was a big shot. He didn't appreciate everything he did for me. He says Moss thought I could be the butt of all his jokes. Well, who's laughing now? He says I am the big bald wolf because I huffed and puffed and I put Moss in an ambulance. And then Corbin goes and he takes the Andre trophy and just completely destroys it against the ring steps, stomps it. This thing just comes apart. But the Andre bust, he grabs that, brings it up, and he holds it high. So, yeah, I thought this was actually pretty, because it was not that long and it was fairly effective. I thought this was pretty decent.
It was decent.
This is a decent feud they got going on here.
Yeah, they're getting some mileage out of it. Mm-hmm. Next, we got Walter versus Drew Gulak. Of course, Marcel Bartel introduces Walter. This is another quick bout. Walter hits Gulak with the trio of chops, powerbomb to get the win. And then Walter puts Gulak in the Boston Crab after the bout. Ricochet comes to the ring to make the save. Walter's going to be your Intercontinental Champion, probably a Hell in a Cell.
You think that'll get... Oh, whoa, breaking. Wow. Huge speculation on your part. They're going to put the IC title on the line at a pay-per-view?
They should.
They should. Gunther would elevate that title, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, he's totally going to be champion. I don't know if they're going to do it at pay-per-view, though. I hope they do.
They should.
I could see that being a SmackDown match. Top of the second hour, or top of the first hour.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Then we got Adam Pearce backstage. LA Knight. Max Dupree walks in. He just kind of says, hey,
different guy.
My name is Max Dupree. He says, I'm ready to get to work. And Adam Pearce says, a pleasure to meet you. And then Max says, well, I'm the CEO of a new modeling agency. Maximum Male Models. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight, discovery begins of WWE superstars who can headline Paris Fashion Week, but also WrestleMania. And Adam Pearce is like, I'm hearing this all for the first time. This is all news to me. And Max says, well, that's because I was hired by Sonya Deville. And then Pearce goes, well, Sonya was dismissed a couple weeks ago. And given the circumstances around her dismissal, this is awkward and not sustainable. Pretty much telling Max Dupree, get out of here. You don't have a job.
No job for you.
Max says, that is awkward because I and my agency have a signed contract. Then Adam Pearce is like, all right, welcome aboard.
Yeah. He's like, well, that contract requires you to be in catering now. So yeah, we'll see how they go. Something tells me this is maybe this is just me being optimistic. I've been known to be a WWE sweaty Larson. I'm hoping that this is one of those things where it's like, oh, this is going to be terrible, but then they turn, dog shit into something pretty decent. Mace is good. I like Mace and I like Mansoor.
Yeah.
I think maybe they can have some fun with this gimmick. I'm completely shocked at how much I'm into Butch. I was like, oh, this Pete Dunne. Like, come on, man. Butch, really? But this dude is, I think once Vince McMahon realized, man, we can't have Ridge out there wrestling. We're just going to have Butch out there wrestling all the time. And they actually, gave his finisher name back. Bitter End this week. They actually called it that, which is cool. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a second. First up, we had an RK Bro interview. Riddle says, yeah, I heard the Usos are trying to convince themselves they can win tonight. He says, I've been beating them week after week after week. He says, they can't beat RK Bro. He says, you know why I'm walking in the main event so confident? Because RK Bro 420 says, we just smoked your asses. Ed Orton says the Usos are sweating bullets because tonight Roman's going to look at the Usos in disappointment, and they're going to look at Roman and tell him what happened. And they got hit with the three most dangerous letters in sports entertainment, RK Bro. RK Bro, yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Shotzi and Aaliyah backstage. They're arguing with each other about the whole title shot situation last week. Raquel steps in. Shotzi says, I'd be champion right now if you hadn't shoved me out of the way. Says, you're weak, you're a choker, and you're too nice. You're 6 feet of disappointment, and I'm going to make you pay for stealing my moment. And Raquel then tells Shotzi, I believe she tells her she's dead in Spanish. Am I correct?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Muerte.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pat was like, what did she say? And I was like, oh, I knew. Ooh, that's rough. Anyways, she was, in fact, Muerte because Raquel Rodriguez beat the shit out of Shotzi. Shotzi got some shit in, but in the end. Hey, let me ask you something. Did they bleep out the name of our finish? Did you notice like a bunch of like the sound going down, cutting out here?
I did. Yeah.
Is okay. Maggie said yes. Maggie, is there something about? Is it pronounced Chigona Bomb? Is there something like bad about that? Maybe Maggie can let us know. What's up, Maggie? But yeah, all three times I was like, okay, that can't be a coincidence that all three times that mentioned it.
The sound was dropping out, yeah.
And on top of that, she said it's literally like saying badass. Okay. Maybe there's some, is there like possibly some sort of variant that's regional that is like worse than that? I don't know.
Oh, that's
she says, I don't know why they'd censor it. Okay. White Brownie says they did, but it wasn't bleeped out on YouTube. Huh. Interesting. She said, not to my knowledge. Maybe they're going to change the name of that finish.
Could be. Then we got Xavier Woods interview. He says, obviously, beating Kofi was Butch's biggest win of his career, but he needs to know if Butch can get it done by himself, or does he always need Sheamus and Ridge Holland there? He says, I'm flying solo tonight, so I'm inviting Butch to face me one-on-one. We find out what kind of man he is.
I wonder if it phonetically, because it's kind of, isn't it kind of close to saying the F word in Spanish? I wonder if that's the deal. Anyways,
could be.
I don't know.
Could be. Then we go backstage, and Ridge and Sheamus are there just hyping up Butch. pushing around a little bit. He's pushing back.
Sheamus wanted to laugh this whole time. It was pretty funny. You could tell that's the thing that I like about this too. You can tell they're all having fun with it. And I feel like Ridge probably still feels absolutely horrible for the Big E thing.
Imagine. Yeah.
And it's kind of nice for him to be able to take a step back. I feel like there was probably just too much pressure on that guy. Because honestly, in the ring, the dude was not ready to have that much of a spotlight on him.
No.
Anyways, so we had Xavier Woods versus Butch. And we had this again, Woods is the perfect feud for Butch's sort of inaugural thing because he really gets the most out of Butch. I think Woods just really appreciates what Pete Dunne was and is trying to get the most out of him. In the end, though, he hits Pat. He hits Pete Dunne, Butch with backwoods, of course, just roll up, but backwoods. So then Butch sort of wanders around. He leaves through the crowd and is like, I wonder if his problem is he always has to poop right after matches. He might have to leave because he's got to look for a bathroom.
Yeah,
I was cracking up when he said that.
So anyways, Woods ends up on the stage celebrating, and then Sheamus and Ridge come from behind him, and then Pete Dunne appears out of nowhere, lays out Xavier Woods, and then Ridge has to hold Butch back.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all just laughing the whole time.
They're all cracking up the entire time, yeah. After that, we had an RK Bro video package, and we had an Xavier Woods interview where he says, I'm tired of this numbers game garbage with the Brawling Brutes. So next week it ends. Kofi's going to be back. He says Big E's not healed up yet, so I got somebody else in mind for a 6-man tag match, and Ridge, Sheamus, and Butch aren't going to like it. It's going to be Drew, right? Drew ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, I thought it'd be Drew too.
Yeah, because Drew and Sheamus, their history, I think that works.
Yeah, that would make sense to give Drew something to do through the first part of the summer before Clash at the Castle.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. After that, then we got Michael Cole talking about Sasha and Naomi saying their actions, quote, disappointed millions of fans and other WWE superstars. Because of that, they've been suspended indefinitely, and there will be a tournament to crown new tag team champions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
then we got our main event.
Yeah, RK Bro versus the Usos. Hell of a match. So they did this the main spot, the turning point really of the match. Riddle gets flung into into the corner, and he does a really great job sort of thrusting his lower back into the middle turnbuckle pad. And he goes down hard from it. And they start selling that as a hip bruise. So the ref immediately throws up the X, which they don't do very often.
No, they don't do that for storyline purposes.
For storyline stuff, they bring a doctor in there, and coming out of I was watching this on Hulu, and they take out all the this morning, so they take out all the commercials.
Yeah,
and so it's sort of goofy because I was like, wait, are they going to talk about this at all? Because the match is just going after SmackDown came back from commercials. And so, they go back and they replay it, and they endlessly show him smacking his lower back into that turnbuckle, and he's selling the crap at it. They do like a double suplex spot.
Yeah, the Usos are working over his hip in midsection.
Meanwhile, Heyman's on commentary. He's doing a really good job there, and he's starting to get nervous because eventually, Riddle gets that tag to Orton. They start turning it around, but in the end. So Riddle goes, let's see here. Riddle goes up top. Jay sweeps out his feet. Riddle ends up tumbling to the mat. Jay goes up top. Heyman leaves commentary. Riddle's able to leap to the top rope, looks for a super RKO. Jay's able to block that. Heyman gets up on the apron to distract the ref, and Roman grabs Jay's feet as Riddle goes for the top rope RKO. Riddle hits the mat. Jay follows with the splash to get the win. So they're the new undisputed tag champions. Roman is number one. Roman came out of nowhere. I don't know if he was hiding. I guess he was hiding under the ring. But he has the most euphoric smile on his face. So he hits the ring, starts laying in on Riddle. The Usos then super kick Orton, so he can't help. Roman clears the announce table. The Usos blast Orton with the ring steps. Roman starts choking out Riddle with the guillotine, puts him on the announce table. Jay goes up to the top and gives him a splash from the top turnbuckle. And then the producers come out. It's just chaos. They're really trying to break it up. Roman's choking out Orton with the guillotine. Pierce is trying to break that hold. The Bloodline then finally get in the ring, and they pose with all the gold. And shots of kids crying. People just upset, like, oh, my God. This is a really well done, well produced segment.
And the whole time that Roman is beating people up and choking people out, he is talking trash.
Oh yeah,
the entire time.
He is turned up all the way.
Yeah, he does not shut up this whole point. He is just talking trash the entire time. It was really effective. It was really good.
Yeah.
Also had episode of Rampage Friday evening. Decent enough episode. A lot of good wrestling. I thought Red Velvet versus Chris Statlander was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a really good match. Was a
really, really good match.
The debut, the AEW debut. Who knows if he's going to show up after this? But Big Damo was Sean Spears's a giant for his Wardlow proxy. I don't think it's going to do much. I mean, this is going to be kind of interesting. So there's two things that I'm looking forward to in this cage match here on Dynamite. Number one thing I'm kind of not looking forward to, but I think might happen, is Wardlow going to try to pull a Cody from the top of the cage? He's been doing these sort of like riskier moves in the build, and Cody did that crazy moonsault from the top of the cage. I hope it doesn't happen because I don't want to see that, but I could see them maybe doing that, Larson.
I mean, it's a possibility. I'd be kind of surprised because like Cody, as soon as he did it,
said I shouldn't have done that.
Said I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Should have done that.
I hope not. Idea. But it got in my head. I was like, oh, God, are they going to try to do that? Because he's been kind of building to something like that.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to rack my brain, and maybe you can help me out. So they did a really good job with the lashes in terms of sort of, turning the convention that they had before, where Cody sold the first one. Wardlow laughed off them all except for number 9 and 10.
Yeah, number 9, yeah.
How are they going to, with MJF as the special guest ref, Sean Spears the opponent, how are they going to sort of, turn the convention of steel cages on its head here?
Well, I mean, Spears' whole thing is he's the chairman. He's the chair guy. Mr. Chair. I mean, if they follow through on the idea that Wardlow can just like no sell stuff, he can no sell a chair shot. I guess obviously there's situations where he can get rammed or thrown to the cage. Usually you get thrown to the chain link cage in a cage match, and like it's brutal, and it's that's kayfabe. That's just what we've learned to expect. Maybe he gets thrown to the cage. I don't know, takes a bite out of the cage or something. I don't know.
Yeah. The rules of a AEW cage match.
I don't believe
is escape a win?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I kind of feel like no, but I could be wrong. I thought it was just pin or submission.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Well, we shall see. Anyways, yeah. And then let's see here. What was the and then the main event? Yeah. No, it was a fun episode of Rampage. It was whatever. Kicked off with House of Black versus 10, Evil Uno, and Fuego. Fuego needs to just join Dark Order. I think he'd look great in purple.
Yeah, I think he would. I think he would too.
And he was in a lot of this match, getting thrown around a lot of places. Yeah, it was funny because he was like isolated for a long spell, tagged out, and then within like 3 minutes he was back in the match.
And that double underhook DDT that Buddy did to him on the stage. Woo!
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Woo!
Yeah.
Ow. As expected, House of Black picks up the win. Brody King hits Evil Uno with the Gonzo bomb. And then after the bout, Death Triangle shows up at the ramp. There's a tombstone there. And they pull a piece of fabric off. And on this tombstone, it has House of Black and the Double or Nothing logo. So that match is happening.
So goofy. It was so
cheesy.
Goofy. So, dude, I don't know, man. House of Black, I feel like they need a win against a quality opponent. I don't think they're
going to move on. And move on.
That's they need to move on, but like, I don't know that they're going to win this match at Double or Nothing.
I don't know either. The creative for this whole thing, and I understand Phoenix was hurt. Pac is going back and forth between the States and home. The creative for this is so convoluted.
It's so convoluted.
It's a mess.
I have no idea why they're even feuding. Wait, why are they feuding? How did this? Did this all start because of Fuego?
No, it predates Fuego. Remember,
they were feuding a long time ago.
They were, and then Phoenix got hurt because Malachi misted Pac, and And then Phoenix got hurt, and so the feud kind of like they hit the pause button, kind of, and that's when Fuego got inserted instead.
That's right. Pat got misted. Yeah, this is like a long time coming. So
it really is.
So we'll see how all this shakes out. I don't know. This is gonna be low confidence points for me on this one, man. I tell you what.
Yeah, I think so too. I really am not sure which way this one is going. After that,
my new favorite faction here, the Gun Club and Max Caster. What was this? By the way, what was this? So like they go to the interview, and Paige's daughter, what's her name? I forget.
Lexi.
Lexi says, "For those of you who didn't see Dark Elevation, here's the clip." And it's just like Bowen's on the ground, clutching his knee, and they cut right back to them. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I know.
What was the 5 seconds or 10 seconds before this? I was laughing so hard because I think it was like intentionally silly that they just showed that clip. That was pretty funny stuff.
It was pretty funny. So then they're talking about Bowen's injury, and then Billy pipes in. They're all asking, "What are we gonna do, Dad?
What are we gonna do, Dad?"
Even Caster called Billy Dad,
and Billy shoves away Austin, and puts his arm around Caster and says, "Well, son, I'll tell you, every faction comes to a roadblock or a speed bump or whatever, and says, Bowens, we're all thinking about you, and when you come back, we're gonna have a huge scissor party." They're doing this stuff.
Yeah, they start doing that.
I don't know. It crack. They're so dumb. It cracks me the hell up, dude.
It's really silly. It's really silly stuff. Next FTR interview. They're talking about the challenge issued by Roppongi Vice for the Ring of Honor tag titles. And then Dax pretty much says, "Hey, Rocky and Trent, you make a joke out of pro wrestling. It's no joke to me. Being a tag champ is how I make my living. Wednesday, if you want to fight, we're gonna give you the damnedest fight of your life."
Yup. Yeah.
And then we had Sean Spears versus A Giant. Big Damo.
He's the A Giant. He's not the B Giant. He's the A Giant. Big Damo. That's what he should debut as.
Sean Spears made quick work of him, though.
He really did. So Damo, he got in a couple. It was like a Samoa drop and something else, and then he went for a Vader
splash
bomb.
On the floor. Yeah,
fun splash. Yeah, and then he went for a Vader bomb. He misses that. That was enough for Spears to roll down the old knee pad, hit him with the was it Kamigoye or something like that. Yeah. And then C4. And then C4 got the win. Getting that big dude up for a C4, that is impressive stuff.
Sean Spears is not a small man.
No, he's not. Yeah, he's WWE size. He's real size. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing him at we went to the after party for the first Double or Nothing. Mm-hmm. And seeing him walk around, he's tall.
Yeah, yeah.
He's tall.
He did that. And he got on the mic and he says, "Hey, I'm Wardlow's kryptonite." He says, "I left Wardlow laying in this ring 2 days ago, proving he's not Superman." He says, "Next week in Las Vegas, I'm not going to be in the cage with Wardlow. Wardlow's going to be locked in the cage with Sean Spears, a giant killer."
Yeah, a giant killer, exactly. Then we got an Undisputed Elite promo. Adam Cole says, "Hey, Kyle O'Reilly, you did something right. You beat Phoenix, and then you did my dirty work for me when you took out Sting." So he says, "Kyle, you're on fire. And I find it borderline poetic that the two of us might face off in the Owens finals." And Kyle O'Reilly says, "I hope Vegas is ready for a little finger poke of doom."
Whoa.
And he goes, "Seriously, it'll be an honor to face Adam Cole in the finals. You're one of my best friends, and you're the best wrestler."
Yeah, this was so nice. And then the Young Bucks mentioned, he says, "Hey, the Hardys schedule is free now. What do we say? We give Vegas a show." He says, "Let's give people the modern-day dream match, Bucks versus Hardys at Double or Nothing." That should be a real good match.
It really should be. Then we got Red Velvet versus Chris Statlander, Ruby Soho on commentary. This match was tons of fun.
Oh, this was a blast. Yeah, this was like the best match I've seen out of Red Velvet. This is really, really good.
It was really good. Really good. In the end, Statlander got the win. She's looking for a finish. Red Velvet rolls her up, and then Statlander kicks out into a roll-up of her own. Afterwards, Red Velvet and Kira Hogan attack Statlander. Ruby runs from commentary to the ring to make the save, and the Jade hits the ring. And she takes out Ruby. About to hit Jaded on Statlander. Anna Jay runs down to make the save. And then later on, we have a promo bit where Jade's going to face Anna Jay at Double or Nothing for the TBS title.
Yep. After that, we had a really goofy Hookhausen, Tony Nese, and Sterling video package where they're just training, for their upcoming match.
It was pretty silly.
Of course, Sterling is the guy. He's the lawyer. He's not very good. And Nese is premier athlete. And then, Danhausen's just doing weird shit while Hook is actually like doing pull-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
After that, we had a Men of the Year and Dan Lambert promo.
Speaking of a storyline being a creative mess, what the shit is this all about?
Dude, I don't know. So I have some questions here. So Paige gets on the mic. He says, bad things happen to people when they cross paths with Men of the Year. This guy says, I didn't come out here just to talk. Sammy, come out and bring my belt, or I'm going to go bury him just like I did SCU. Sammy stole the belt last week on Dynamite. Is that what happened? Or was it on Rampage on Dynamite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Boy, my memory. I need to get some for my memory, dude. I don't remember that at all. Did that happen at the end of was it at the end of the Kazarian match?
Yeah.
So that was on Rampage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
So then this happens. Okay, so then Sammy shows up on the Tron. And he says, I would never do anything to harm this title, the TNT title. He's holding it in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He said, someone else here might. And Ty Conti's there, and she's got a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And then they're like, this guy's like, hey, give me the TNT title. Oh, sorry. My bad. Sammy says, give me a TNT title match. And Lambert says, no. Then Sammy takes the sledgehammer and starts beating the title with it just 30 seconds after saying he would never do anything to harm this title.
Yeah, right.
And then Kazarian steps in, and then he joins in on destroying the belt as well. And then Sammy says, like it or not, this title match is happening. Mess. This is a mess.
The title's a mess now, but luckily they got that other one. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about all this. Like, it'd be kind of cool if they just taped that thing back up, and that's what Sky. It's like, well, you have a good one. He's like, no, that's in the American. What is it called?
American Top Team.
Yeah,
trophy case. Yeah, that's not going anywhere.
Trophy case. So they got to tape this one up.
So it's like the hardcore title.
Oh man. Anyways.
Yeah, this storyline is
exactly like the hardcore title.
I just want someone to win this title, whenever they have this match, and just move on, because they need a reset on this. This is, I don't know. I just don't know what to make of all this.
This has sort of replaced Cody as my train wreck that I appreciate. It's like, you know what? It's a mess. I don't really know like whose side is on whose side, or like who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. Because Kazarian starts talking, and then like Sammy and Ty start, making love behind him.
Basically, they're
like sucking face while he's talking, which I'd be like, oh, that's a hot couple. I want to pay attention to that. But Kazarian's so steamed, he's not even paying attention. But I'd be like, I'm gonna watch the party over here. It's like Little Bill's wife.
Gosh.
Oh man. So yeah, it's a mess, but I'm in it, man. I'm in it. I'm all good.
All right, very well.
Why not? Right? It's the one
Welcome
unpredictable thing about AEW.
I guess so.
I don't know what's gonna happen next. They just destroyed the title.
Week to week, like it's like they take potential creative ideas for this feud, cut out individual words, and tape them back together randomly.
Right. You have to kind of appreciate that, right? Like, Tony Khan's got his legal pad. He's writing everything out for like the next 3 years. He's like, oh, I got this script. But then there's that one thing where he's like, blank spot, TNT title shenanigans. And
it's like Mad Libs.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. He shows up and he Mad Libs this shit.
He like has stuff booked out, but he has, the spaces with underneath noun, adjective, adverb. And it's like, he's just walking through backstage. Hey, Fuego.
Yeah.
Give me a proper noun, a name. I don't know, Frankie Kazarian. All right, thank you.
Okay, Kazarian. give me an object. Sledgehammer. Okay, cool.
Good.
Right on.
Good. Write that down. That's good. It feels like.
Proper noun, Frankie Kazarian. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Then we had a Britt Baker Tony Storm interview. Britt's asking Tony if she can handle a high pressure match. Are you going to run away? Ooh. Referencing leaving WWE. And then Tony interrupts and says, well, can you handle the pressure without the help of your friends? Speaking of which, you see what I did to Jamie Hayter, and the same thing is going to happen to you. And if there's any funny business, I'm going to rearrange your teeth and I'll be your DMD.
Ooh, and Britt had no response to that. She just said, okay. And then
left.
she walked away. And then we had our main event. Of course, we had the interview first. Blackpool Combat Club versus Seidel and Dante Martin. Dante said he's looking to get one of the biggest wins to date tonight and fly to the top of the tag division. Seidel wants the Combat Club, the clobbering club, to see what it really means to mentor somebody. He says, we're about peace, love, and pro wrestling, and you guys are not going to turn us into violent monsters. And Brian's like, look, man, I love peace and pro wrestling. He's like, I just don't want my love and peace in my pro wrestling. I want violence in my pro wrestling. And Wheeler Yuta winning that Ring of Honor title is proof that our approach works. And Mox says, yeah, we're not just pro wrestlers, we're teachers. The tools we teach with are pain and torture. And the most valuable lesson you learn when you get in the ring with Blackpool Combat Club is abandon all hope. And then we had a Jade Cargill promo. You mentioned this before. She says, Anna Jay, since you feel like you can step up to the plate, face me at Double or Nothing and get this ass whooping. All my confidence points. Every single
12.
one of
I feel like
them.
12 matches, cards. 12 on
12
Jade.
On Jade.
Maximum
12.
confidence on Jade Cargill retaining. Then we got our main event, Matt Sydal and Dante Martin versus Blackpool Combat Club. It was a really fun match.
Commentary was fun, too, because it was like Jericho and Regal going at it. They were each on commentary
that was fun
as well.
It was fun. In the end, though, of course, Blackpool Combat Club gets the win. Mox hits Dante with a paradigm shift to get the W afterwards. Jericho and Hager leave commentary to attack Brian and Mox. Of course, the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society comes out. Santana, Ortiz, Eddie Kingston, they all come out too for this massive brawl. They cut away before Bryan Danielson apparently gets his leg stuck between the ring and the ramp. Still not clear whether that was like a shoot thing or if that was a work thing.
I have no idea. It was really weird, so you think it's probably a shoot thing?
Yeah.
But there hasn't been any reports to suggest that there's any long-lasting damage, and he walked out on his own.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It seemed like a dangerous situation if it was for reals, though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
sure.
man. Oof. We have an actual Raw preview here.
We do.
Bobby Lashley has an almighty challenge for Amos. Cody Rhodes is set to square off with The Miz. And Becky Lynch addresses her number one contender loss to Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. We put up a thread on the Twitter.com/whatever, Real Going in Raw.
Real Going in Raw, I think. Yeah. B-Man, would you rather take 10 hits with the kendo stick or be choke slammed through the table? I'll take those kendo stick shots all day, every day.
Oh my God. Yeah, this isn't even... God, give us some real options. Give us like would you rather take a power bomb from Walter or be choke slammed through a table? I think it'd still probably be the power bomb, but yeah, 10 kendo stick shots. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd do that. Yeah, because one choke slam through table or not is going to do probably lasting damage to my neck and spine.
You're going to be done, yeah.
Yeah, I can't be taking any bumps like that.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Michael Soto says they were kind of laughing during the video, so he thinks it's a work. I didn't notice that, but I just watched like the grainy fan cam.
See, there's that. I saw that, but then I heard some other people, other accounts from there that made it seem like, like they were giving thumbs up to each other and stuff like that. Like it was potentially a work. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but I wasn't there, so.
Yeah.
Nikyle says, why does WWE make a lot of last minute decisions, whereas the AEW pretty much have a plan set up for a show in advance most of the time? Oh, that's just Vince McMahon. That's how he works.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he's been doing it. He's made multiple billion-dollar deals off doing it that way. He ain't going to change.
So he's got no reason to change his mind.
Yeah. Nick.
Or change his approach. He changes his mind all the time. That's kind of the issue.
Right, yeah. White Brownie says, what's a match that's a match type that sounds great on paper but isn't treated as such? He says for him, it's an Extreme Rules match. Sounds great on paper but isn't great in practice.
Inferno match.
God, we need more of those.
So it's like, what a great idea. But every time they happen, you're like, oh, okay, that's how it ended.
They're cheesy as hell.
They are.
They're cheesy as hell. Let's see. I guess the Exploding Ring match would be a good one.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Although when they're done in Japan, they're really good.
They are.
Anthony Tobias, what's next for Seth and Cody after their Hell in a Cell match? Well, they need to part ways, number one.
Cody will win Money in the Bank, and Seth will feud with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Shane's birthday tweet says, what do you consider when a wrestler goes Hollywood? Is it Dave, Rock, and current Cena levels of movies and shows, or is it Miz, Sasha, Roman, Becky levels of shows and movies?
I would think if the idea of a wrestler going Hollywood is when they change their focus primarily from their wrestling career to their acting career.
Yep, that's exactly
when
what
acting
it
is their primary focus, then they're an actor first and a wrestler second.
Right, yeah. So I would say Cena 2018 or so. Like, he hadn't made it big, but he was getting a regular series roles and he was leaving more often. He was trying to do Hollywood more than he was doing wrestling obligations. That's when somebody goes Hollywood.
Yep. Oh, wow. Fear and Loathing was a good question. Between the two of you, who makes a better breakfast?
Who makes a better breakfast? I don't know what breakfast you make. I know you make pancakes.
And waffles.
Yeah. I get the feeling that I make a better breakfast for me and you make a better breakfast for you.
That's probably highly likely.
Kobe Rose says, with how much social media is part of our lives, I'm surprised Cyber Sunday isn't back in WWE. Do you see AEW doing a similar special Dynamite? I think it's entirely possible because AEW likes to do stuff like that. That's sort of gimmicky for fun. And I am shocked that Cyber Sunday or Taboo Tuesday or whatever isn't a thing in WWE.
Yeah, no.
They hype up their social media engagement so much. You would think that they would have a bit more actual engagement, but yeah, I don't know.
Not. Heart the Duchy, out of these four, who should have won a world title during their time at WWE? Test, Taz, Sean O'Hare, Evan Bourne. Sadly, Mark Jindrak not listed here.
Where is Marco Corleone in this list? Because he's freaking top. I mean,
know.
dude, why couldn't Evolution be 5 guys? You put Batista in there, but you also put Marco Corleone in there.
I know.
Justice for Corleone.
I would say of those names, Taz. Yeah, Taz.
1000% Taz. Remember how over he was in ECW? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Remember how over he was when he first debuted in WWE?
I know. Yeah. Let's see here. Bassy says, you're tasked to make a pay-per-view premium live event to help draw in more casual fans. You're also required to make the main event of this pay-per-view / premium live event involved with a celebrity, sports icon, and or YouTube influencer. And you can't hire retired wrestlers. Cross promotions okay, Rawgate included. How would you build this out for casuals? So a pay-per-view. So what YouTube influencer would we use?
Simon Miller, he defend the H title.
That gets an up from me.
Yeah. What I would do is I would use Rawgate, not necessarily to bring wrestlers, but I'd bring in LeBron James from after he retired as a full-time NBA basketball player.
Oh, he's
a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
He's a tremendous athlete.
Like
I'm sure he can take to the sport really quick should he choose to pursue it. LeBron James against
I got it.
Roman Reigns.
No,
what?
You Rawgate in 2017 Undertaker. Because remember when LeBron snubbed Undertaker? That dude got in full costume, and then LeBron snubbed him. Oh, that wouldn't even been that bad if that picture hadn't been taken of Undertaker just standing out in a line of other people.
Sad too.
Looks so sad.
Looks so sad.
Wait, what? I've been bumped? It's not even. It's just I'm supposed to pep talk some guys. I look like an asshole right now. I'll be honest with you. I look like an absolute asshole. All right? Now, you get back there and you tell him that I showed up. I did my part.
Yep. Athletes, man, they got a pregame routine. They don't deviate from.
You better deviate that for the dead man. Powers of darkness.
Nah, man.
You're right, man. Yeah, if you're a special athlete.
If you're a high-level athlete, you do the same thing before every contest.
No meet and greets.
Same way. Every time. There's no time for meet and greets when you're doing your prep work. Maybe you're in there watching film. You're getting a massage. Yeah. The trainer's taping you up.
Yeah.
You're having your pregame meal. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but you hear over and over about athletes. They have the routine and they stick to it.
Didn't Paul Pierce say he used to eat 5 strawberry jam and peanut butter sandwiches?
Oh, really?
I don't know if it was 5. Maybe it was just 1. But he had a peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwiches.
It
was one of the
meal.
big 3 from Boston. Forget
Gotcha,
it was Pierce
gotcha.
or Garnett, or I don't think it was Ray Allen. I think
Gotcha.
it was Pierce. Maybe that's why he pooped his pants that time.
It's a bad jam, huh?
Some bad jam in that sandwich. Oh, man. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We absolutely appreciate it. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald, here to tell you to go support Going In Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the week in wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.